One thing, this is not, I'm just reading, we have a scorer. What I told your Lordship, our unanimous resolution, any assistance which the court want from lawyers, Scora will, your Lordship may call on Scora to make a panel, to assist in terms of any SIT, if legal assistance, to communicate between the court and so on. For any facilitation, your Lordship may call on Scora. I just wanted to reiterate that.
No, I just wanted to make a
We've heard everybody now. Mr. Attorney General, what we would do probably, I'm just giving you a broad outline of the ultimate approach of the court. Our effort today is really to use whatever we have within our power to restore a sense of confidence, faith in the rule of law, and to that extent, therefore, build a sense of trust and faith and confidence. Now, what we are planning to do is this. We will constitute at one level a committee of 3 High Court judges, 3 former High Court judges. These High Court judges, this committee of 3 judges we will constitute will be looking at things apart from the investigation, including relief, remedial measures, rehabilitation, compensation, restoration of homesteads, religious places of worship, so on and so forth. So the remit of the committee will be a broad-based committee, including, of course, visiting the relief camps, looking at the conditions of the relief camps. We'll formulate the directions. We've got suggestions from them. We've heard suggestions from you also. So at one level, we are going to constitute a committee of 3 former judges of the High Court who will be looking into diverse aspects of a humanitarian nature in the current situation. Now, on the investigation, we find now overall, after hearing everyone, there are about 16 FIRs which have to be transferred to the CBI. Maybe 11, maybe 12, maybe 14, maybe 16, whatever.
Well, it was, my lord.
Anyway, whatever it is, yes.
Our part, my lord, I do not know.
These are live with mistake.
These are small things, really.
They will not join issues.
Yes. Now, what we propose to do is this. You have transferred the investigation to the CBI. We are not going to supplant CBI because you have an investigative agency which is looking after the investigation. At the same time, consistent with our mission to ensure that there is a sense of faith and an overall sense of this being objective and dispassionate. We are not casting any aspersions on CBI at all. Otherwise, we would have transferred it off from CBI. We are not doing that. What we propose to do is at 2 levels. If there are, say, about 11 FIRs, as the Solicitor General states, we are proposing to direct that there shall be 5 officers of the rank of at least DYSP, if not SP, who will be brought into the CBI from various states. We are conversant with the fact that a large part of the population in Manipur is conversant with Hindi. Mr. Director General will correct us if we are wrong. So what we would propose to do is that we will ask the Directors General of Police of states where these officers would typically be conversant with the spoken Hindi language. We will have presently 5, maybe we'll see how many, in the vicinity of 5 or 6 officers of the rank, at least of DYSP or SP, who will be brought on deputation to the CBI, specifically for the purpose of overseeing the investigation into these FIRs which have been transferred to the CBI. These officers will also be functioning within the 4 corners of the infrastructural and the administrative setup of the CBI. So they may be presently monitored also. They may be supervised by an officer of the level of Joint Director CBI, who is normally a rank of an Inspector General of Police. So we will bring in at least 5 officers from diverse states within the nation into CBI on deputation. We will ask the Directors General of Police of those states to nominate these officers who will come to CBI. They will in turn be functioning within the 4 corners of the administrative setup of CBI. But we are going to add one more. We are going to add one more layer of scrutiny for us. We've already identified the officer. If you would like, I can disclose it to you. There are no secrets here. At the end, I'll tell you who they are. These will be part of the formal order. So we have identified a former IPS officer, very distinguished and a very highly decorated officer, who has wide experience in investigation. He will oversee the nature of the investigation. We are not calling it an SIT, but we want an additional oversight layer which will report back to us. So this is the way we will structure the investigation in the CBI. Now, insofar as the state investigation is concerned, we find from your statement which you have given us that there would be about 42 SITs. That last page 3 of page 5. There will be about 42 SITs which will be looking after cases which have not been transferred to the CBI. What we would like to do is this, that for instance, you have said, for just an example, you have said matters related to murder or any other heinous crimes, the SIT will be composed of 2 inspectors, 6 sub-inspectors and 12 constables. Likewise,
SP.
headed by the not below the rank of SP. Now, for these SITs, what we would like to do is that where the inspectors are going to be brought in, every SIT will be monitored by an inspector level officer. What we are proposing to do is, from the very states where we are bringing in officers to the CBI, we will ensure that the SIT will have at least one inspector which is drawn from any of the other states. Those DGPs will nominate them, and these people will be brought on deputation by the Union Ministry of Home Affairs to Manipur Police, so that they will be part of that. They will be part of the SIT. There's an additional level of somebody from outside also who will come in. And since each of the SITs are proposed to be headed by an officer not below the rank of SP, we will also propose that initially we were thinking of directing that these SITs will be subject to the supervision of an officer brought from one of those states on deputation. Now what we will do is that we will direct that these SITs, 42 SITs, they should be supervised by, say, 6 DIG ranked officers who will come in from outside the state of Manipur. They will be brought from those states. Each officer will, say, monitor a group of 6 SITs and ensure that the investigation is proceeding correctly.
Only one.
DIG, SP group or DIG.
Only one, no difficulty at all, my lord. We have no, that's falling from your lordship, we bow down. Once, by way of a clarification, I must point out, that when we talk of CBI does not have any permanent
I know that, yes.
No, they are all on deputation from various states.
That's right.
So they are no, my lord, people of one organization. A person who is, my lord, say SP or a DIG or a IG of Maharashtra can be on deputation. So all would be deputies only, on deputation only. So if your lordship's, my lord, has that impression.
That CBI has a very small core permanent staff. The others are all brought on deputation.
Yes, that's all. And
but
they
we
are from
thought that,
various states.
the reason we thought was that these people will be focused only on this particular Manipur issue. Not that, the existing staff, there is a lack of faith in them, but since we want somebody focusing on Manipur, we'll bring 5 or 6 officers who will deal only with this.
So one small submission, when you talk about other states,
All right, we'll also tell you whom we are appointing, who the committee is going to consist of. The committee of the 3 former judges of the 3 former judges of the High Court will be headed by Justice Geeta Mittal, former Chief Justice of the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, who just recently retired and was earlier a judge of the Delhi High Court. The second member of the committee will be Justice Shalini Phansalkar Joshi, who is also rose to become a judge of the Bombay High Court in essence demitted office. And the third member of the committee will be Justice Asha Menon, who was a member of the Judicial Service in Delhi, who retired as a judge of the Delhi High Court. So the three members of the committee will be these three persons. And only one more thing, the person whom we are bringing in, a former police officer, who will overall monitor the investigation, would be Mr. Dattatreya Padsalgikar, who is a very highly decorated officer. He served in the NIA, served in the Intelligence Bureau, served in Nagaland in the 1990s. He was an officer from the Maharashtra cadre. And so I've spoken to him this morning. I've spoken to all the three judges. They've all three agreed. And Mr. Padsalgikar also has agreed to do this. Whatever the, since he's a former officer, the Union of India may consult him and fix whatever is
that will not be a problem.
Yes.
So one small submission.
When
When you talk about officers from other states, let it not be from any of the other remaining northern states because there are affiliation issues. I'm from that part of the country. So
You are saying that
there
it
are
should be from the northeast, no?
not from the northeast, from other parts of India.
Credit us with that
let
much
it be
understanding.
let it be left to the government.
Ultimately,
We know the seriousness, we know the sensitivity, and let nothing be said which cast aspersions on a particular
So
region.
broadly now, this is going to be the,
Little-
broadly, this
What
is going to be
perception?
the framework. This is going to be the framework of the order. We could sit down and dictate it for the next 45 minutes. I'll just save you the boredom of having to just sit in court when I'm dictating it. I'll do it in the evening.
May do it afterward.
Instead of 11
questions, Milord.
given 6 FIR, wait. Yeah, he knows the nature.
Why don't you do that? 1 second. Why don't you do this? Instead of putting it to us all the time, have a word outside with the Solicitor General. Director General of Police is here. Mr. Director General, kindly have a word with the Solicitor General and Mr. Pasha. If there are 16, why don't you do this? Before you all leave the court today, just give the list of the FIRs to my court master so that we'll just put it in our order, that's all, whether it's 12 or
I
15.
don't think this need to be repeatedly talked about here.
It's not, we have examined it, the DG is here. It's not 16. I do not know how my friend gave an up.
Anyway, why don't you just, but Mr. Solicitor, why don't you just have it cross-verified in case we have left
Taken
something?
care of. Let's taken care of.
The DG is here. He will prepare the list and give it to the court master. I think they should be trusted.
We'll give the list of 6 FIR.
Between the, just sit down with them and also look at it so that you can all sit together over 15 minutes and give us the list, that's all. On that
Well,
basis,
before your lordships
there
gets
should be
up.
no variation at all.
Lord, before your lordships rise, Milord.
So, we'll upload the order as soon as it is signed, but the broad framework, we'll take some of the suggestions, not all the suggestions, but whatever we find, there's some good suggestions which have come from them. One area is, of course, the fact that, the offences must be registered under the correct section. That's very crucial. For instance, they should be registered under 376.
Only one request I would make, my lord. Your lordships may, my lord, take care of one, and your lordships will, my lord, I'm sure, take care of that. That, as my learned friend, my lord, slightly irresponsibly said, nobody from Northeast. The lordships, let us not cast any aspersion on any region of the country. Your lordships may take it, my lord.
It's about
We'll take
perception,
care
also,
of
it's about
that.
perception.
We are not,
This would also
we
not
have not
reflect.
accepted we have not accepted, let me make it very clear. It's not that we have accepted the submission because we don't want to ask questions on any of the officers.
It should
We will bear things in mind. We also have a feel for reality.
also bear things in mind, and this may not have any reflection on the
And
ability
one
of
last
Manipur
thing.
police also.
It may be
Let
premature.
me put
It may be premature for us to direct today for the shifting of the trials because we are still at the stage of investigation. So therefore,
Otherwise, we have no difficulty.
yes,
Right, that's
It
right.
hasn't come, my lord, for that decision.
that stage has not come. So in our order, we'll probably only clarify that that stage is not reached. So we are not rejecting that request. But today we are not. We are at a stage criteria. We'll also ask for periodical reports from both the committee chaired by Justice Mittal as well, Justice Geeta Mittal, as well as from Mr. Padsalgikar, so that, if any consequential directions are to be passed, many times these are of more of a ministerial nature, officer has to be replaced, somebody new has to be brought in, etc. Those orders we can pass here and monitor it.
As the learned solicitor pointed out, I think it also balancing the reputation and the role to be played by the Manipur police should not be completely sidelined. But the Director General of Police is here, and then they are certainly concerned about taking this case forward as therefore let
Therefore, Mr. Equally, therefore, we are maintaining that balance.
Equalizing effect,
We are maintaining that balance. Have we?
Your Lordship, no, that's all.
My lord, before your lordships rise, my lords,
Come to us.
My lord, your
And-
lordship will mention that this investigation is being monitored by the Supreme Court. That's a normal formula adopted in all previous cases, my lord.
lord, before your lordships rise, my lord,
Absolutely, no difficulties.
my lord, before your lordships rise, my lord, 7.6, my lord, that professor's case. If your lordship can't take it today, then I assume your lordship will keep it on Friday. Time is running short for
I
me
can
now.
right now answer there now, Your Lordship.
Very well.
That
Spend
professor,
of 2 minutes.
Yes.
Mr. Solicitor, subject to hearing you, we can pass the same order as we did in the case of that young girl who was the lawyer.
No,
The lawyer.
I need to say the reason is twofold. He is concerned about two FIRs, two crimes.
Not FIRs, Mr. Solicitor, it's a complaint in the court. Both of them are complaints in the court now.
But
They're not FIRs.
One is a complaint in the court and there is an order of the competent court. So Miraj
What was the second one?
is challenging the order of the court in a 32 which your lordships would not entertain. So far as second is concerned, it has nothing to do with this violence. Some other electoral offense.
I'm sorry, my lord, I have now got a complaint. It's a complaint case where an order of the court has been passed.
It can
and
be
it's
a
based
matter
on
of
the-
32.
Let it be kept on Friday. I'll
Friday.
satisfy your lordship.
We'll, because in this group, we didn't also see it very closely.
No, my lord, keep it on
7.6
Friday, so I can satisfy your lordship.
आपको दिखाएंगे
The presence of the
My lord,
the presence of the Director General of Police may not be
I'm sorry.
required in future.
लॉ स्ट्रीट भारत, राष्ट्र के हित में।